Hey guys, welcome back to the Chinamen podcast. Here today, we're going to talk about the Indian A's and B's team for T20s in light after the IPL, where all our minds are fresh of the great performances from the Indian players. And so, let's start with the Indian first team. So, who have we got for our openers? Go with
I think
Will.
it's really obvious.
Yep. Well, ideal Indian side. I've gone for the vice captain KL Rahul, and I've gone for Rohit Sharma, an ideal T20 side. Rohit Sharma is not going to be playing the upcoming series as he's being rested due to some injury, despite him playing the IPL final. But yes, I think in the strongest side, those are the two openers.
Yeah, I agree. Except Rohit would be the vice captain, right?
Yeah. Okay.
He is there.
No, he's just lost it. It's unlucky.
Yeah. Ryan, I
Alright.
assume you've done something else.
Well, that's the thing. I know Shikhar Dhawan's not really in contention now because KL is probably the best T20 opener right now. But I'd still put Shikhar Dhawan as Rohit Sharma.
So who are your two openers?
Yeah.
Which two are you going for?
Shikhar Dhawan and Rohit Sharma.
Okay.
I don't know if there's really much to say.
I mean,
It's so
a full IPL top run scorer. How do you respond to that?
no. So that's where I'm going with it. So Rahul at 3,
Okay, sure.
which I think you could see coming.
Yep. Okay, sure. Well, do you want to go to the middle order then?
Yeah. So
3, 4, 5. Yeah.
So I've gone with Rahul at 3, Kohli at 4, Shreyas Iyer at 5. But as you can see with my top 5, there are potential problems where the average strike rate may be 125 or 130, which is not great.
That's a good point, but it's kind of weird. I feel like Kohli, Iyer, and Rahul they actually bat better. They bat better in international T20s than the IPL. Like they're way more explosive, especially Rahul. He goes off. Kohli's done it before. Iyer did it against New Zealand. It might not be a problem.
They're all the same model player, you know what I mean? So
yeah,
you don't have one out-and-out hitter, which is, I see as a bit of an issue. But in my opinion, they're the best 5 players, T20 players. So that's what I've done. I've just picked the best 5 T20 batsmen.
Yeah, I'm not going to put people out of position. I'm going to go with a more natural middle order with Kohli 3, Iyer 4, but then Manish Pandey at 5. I think he's the incumbent. He's been playing in the Indian T20 side the last few series. He's had a decent enough IPL. He's been really good for Hyderabad. He's solidified the middle order. I think as opposed to, having Rahul or Dhawan at 3 or in the middle order, I think you'd rather just put Kohli 3, who you normally back to bat 3, and put Manish Pandey there in position.
Well, I'm yet to hear the rest of your batting order.
Sure.
But it'd be interesting to see why you chose Pandey over some of the other options.
Yep.
Definitely. Arjun, who have you gone with?
Yeah, I've gone for Kohli and Iyer. And at number 5, I've gone for. You said this is the ideal team, and ideally it's Rishabh Pant. Ideally, he's in form and he's
Okay. Yeah.
the left-hander. Just something different. You have Dhawan, but Will and I don't. And on his day, he's explosive enough to be at number 5, and he changes the gear from the stroke makers at the top to the finishers.
Would you have Punt keep or Carroll keep?
Punt keep, sure.
Yep.
Rahul's still part-time.
Okay.
Though I would say in one day is keep Rahul there. But in 2020, that's Punt's area.
All right. Who have you gone for 6 and 7?
Okay.
And 8, just because I have a feeling they'll be able to bat as well.
I don't know. So I've got Hardik Pandya as 6. So I thought about options like Pant and Samson and in particular Samson for that number 5 spot. But I think I wouldn't want Samson and Pandya in a row. I think that's unnecessary. The strike rate could be an issue, but Pandya can float. I've also gone for Jadeja as my 7. Another batsman that can score fast and that can float up the order if necessary. Pandey could just bat 7 if you wanted to bring those two up. Now my number 8's actually not sure I'd bat 8 here, but I don't really have an all-rounder. I've got 4 bowlers, so I'll leave it at that for now.
Yeah, I'm doing the same. I'll leave my number 8 with the bowlers. 6 Hardik Pandya for sure. I think, yeah, very good finisher. He can bowl. Hopefully, he can bowl. Number 7, I'm not going Jadeja. I actually think he's overrated in 2020s. International strike rate is only 101, average of 12. Bowling, he's okay, but he actually gets smashed a lot. I think he's not really a wicket taker anymore. He just tries to contain. But in saying that, I've gone for, if you're going to have someone who contains, why not have someone who does it better? And that's Washington Sundar. He's my number 7. He's done that a little bit for India. They played him and Jadeja, I think, a lot. But I think if you open with him, it just does so much for them because then they can attack later on with Shami and Bumrah and the other guy. His batting,
The other
maybe,
guy.
because I don't want to spoil. You could say Sundar's batting maybe he's not as good, but there are times when Kohli's just like, yeah, we'll put you at number 4. So clearly there's some trust in him. So yeah, he's my number 7.
Yeah, I've gone with Hardik Pandya and Jadeja as 6 and 7. I think everyone could see that coming. But I don't know, I see your point about Washington Sundar, but yeah, I think Jadeja has more in him than Washington Sundar has. I think Jadeja has shown that he can keep it tight. IPL is, in many cases, it's arguably just as hard as international cricket. And considering Jadeja's performed in IPL, I don't see him how he can't turn his international T20 career around and suddenly pop off in international T20s. So
the key thing here is Sundar's batting as well. Do you back him to bat 7 for India in international T20s?
I think if he's the only guy left, it's a bit of a struggle. But if he could easily get the other guy on strike, whoever it is, and do that job. And
just how much you trust Pant at 5, I suppose. And with Hardik it's 6 if you're going to go for Sundar at 7. But fair enough.
I was just going to say that spot, there's a load of options as well, like Krunal Pandya, Akshar Patel, and lately like Tawatia has done well. There's a wealth of options.
Awesome. So who have we gone for our 4 bowlers? I'll start off. I've gone with the new ball option of Deepak Chahal, where he can bowl maybe 3 overs at top. I think obviously you've got Bumrah and Shami as in next 2 bowling options. I think Bumrah's so versatile. You can bowl him top, you could bowl him in the middle, and obviously he's going to bowl maybe 2 at the death. So Bumrah's very versatile. Shami can fill in those overs between Chahal and Bumrah, and he's still good enough to be a wicket-taking option, keeps the runs down. And my last bowler, I've gone with Chahal. I think he's the best spinner India have right now in T20s, and he's shown that for RCB. He's probably I think he's the top wicket-taking spinner. Could be wrong in IPL.
He's certainly the best, whether or not he was the top wicket taker.
Yeah.
Clearly the best.
Certainly the best, yeah.
Yeah, definitely the best.
I think everyone's going to be very similar to that. So,
well, I'll go. The Shami Bumrah Chahal is very obvious, I'd say. Shami just burst into it. I think he wasn't really seen as a 3 format player, but now you have to have him like that. You say Chahal at the start, and he's done that job for India for a little while. But he's just filling in for someone who's better at that than him, and that's Bhuvneshwar Kumar. Ideally, he's there. And
the thing is, I haven't seen much of him, so I don't know how he's going to perform.
That makes the death bowling so good. Kumar, Shami, Bumrah, and they're all good at the start. I think that's just good.
Yeah.
Obviously, very weak batting after 7, but you'd hope that they're good enough. It doesn't matter.
Yep, I'm the same as Arjun. That's their normal 3 paces. It's Bumrah, it's Shami, and it's Kumar. And I think that's the 3 you've got to back in their full strength T20 side. Kumar only played one IPL game, but I think he got like 3 or 4 wickets. He was really good. So yeah, I've gone for those along with Chahal, who's their best spinner at the moment. Had a fantastic IPL. I think this summer I'd love to see Chahal playing, and I think he probably will at times. At least one of the games. But full strength side, I've got to go for Booby.
Yeah.
Just a quick question. In terms of floaters, who do you see as floating in that Indian team?
I mean,
And who do you think will... So do you think KL Rahul... Well, in my team, do you think KL Rahul will always bat 3? In your team, do you think Kohli will always bat 3? Do you always think Shreyas will bat 4? Or do you think there'll be a point where Hardik might overleap or Jadeja might overleap Shreyas? Or do you think Rishabh Pant and Arjun's team will...
Well, in my opinion, I think Kohli will always bat 3 no matter what.
Yeah.
I think he has the gears to go. And then Pandya is the floater. And then maybe sometimes Pant at 4. But even the way they're in their positions, it's still pretty good most of the time, I reckon.
I think it's very situational. How much you float someone like Hardik Pandya. I think you would bring in about Pandey certainly. Iyer is another matter. When you've got Iyer at 4, so maybe if you only lose 1 wicket in the first 14 overs, then you think about putting Pandya in at 4. But I back Iyer to actually score quite fast at times. I think he's an okay power hitter, and I think he can have the run rate when he needs to, similar to Kohli. So I think most of the time you'd keep the same top 4 there.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, because interesting with Rahul, you could say he needs time sometime, to get going.
Yeah. But like you said, in international T20s, he has shown he can just go for it and really score quickly. So I think it's just a mindset thing. I think he knows that for Punjab, there's not much batting. He's worried about the middle order collapsing. That's why he takes his time. But in the Indian team, when you have players like Kohli, Shreyas Iyer, and you've got the 2 openers in my team in front of him, I think he doesn't really have to worry about stabilizing the innings as much. So he can play a bit more freely. That's how I see it anyway.
Yes, international strike rate is 146.
Yeah. I mean, I think he's shown in the new role he's playing in ODIs that he can score quickly. He's finished off innings pretty well of the handful of games he's played at number 4, number 5. So you could definitely put that into T20s for sure. And score quickly.
Yeah. Should we
go on to the second team?
Honestly, should we say who would play in place? But I guess we'll do the B team first and then say.
Yeah. Sure. Okay. Who have you got for the 2 openers? Because this is hard. This is tough to pick 2 openers.
It's easier for us, I think.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah. Because you don't have...
Yeah. I've gone for Mayank Agarwal and Shikhar Dhawan. I think I'm keeping everyone in position. I think the next 2 best openers after Sharma and Rahul. I think that's pretty clear for me that I'd want those 2 opening the UA side. They're both quality batsmen.
Yep, same. There's pretty obvious as those 2, and you're not going to miss Rohit as much with those 2.
Yeah. Right. If you're going to choose an opener after that, who would you choose?
You say first, and then we can give our say.
Okay. So obviously, I need to pick an opener apart from those 2, because I've already got Shikhar Dhawan in my team, my main team. So like you guys have gone with Agarwal. Now the second opening position, there's a lot of options. So there's Padakal after that IPL he had. There's Shulman Gill, there's Prithvi Shaw. Who else that? Kishan could pitch to open.
Gaikwad.
Rana.
Who I'd go with if I was you.
Yashasvi Jaiswal.
But I've gone with Padakal. I know it's controversial, but I see a lot of potential in Padakal. And he gives the left-handed combination, left right-hand combination up top. So I've gone with Padakal.
If I were you, I would stick with Shaw, I reckon. I think he's the 5th best.
If I were you, I'd go for Samson. I think Samson can open for India. He's opened before, I think, for India, and I think he's opened before for Rajasthan. I would certainly consider him having opening if you needed an opener. I think Padakal's only had 1 good season. So.
That's fair enough. Okay, who have we gone for 3, 4, 5, and 6? Let's go 6 as well. No, let's not. 3, 4, 5.
Well, I think one of them is very obvious, but I'll start with 3. So I have Manish Pandey because he's not my first team. I know he's in yours, Will. He's pretty good. Number 4, yeah, Suryakumar Yadav. I think everyone has to have very close to the Indian team, you could say. I think he'll get a chance eventually. And then my wicketkeeper is tough. Like Sanju Samson. I like Ishan Kishan as well, and they're both very similar, both very inconsistent. Hit a lot of sixes. Young guys, but yeah, I'll go Sanju Samson.
Well,
Why not both is my answer. I've gone for Soyukumi Yadav as 3, Sanju Samson as my 4, and Ishan Kishan as my number 5. And there's more keepers coming later. Just you wait.
okay, let's
Punt.
be clear. I'll tell you my number 6 because. Okay, so I've gone for a middle order that's like all guns blazing. Yeah. So I've gone with Suryakumar Yadav. He's not really hit off, but the next few are Sanju Samson, Rishabh Pant, and Kishan. So there's a lot of firepower there.
They're the same as mine.
Potentially, I don't know.
It was, yeah.
So that means you guys have. Oh, so who's been left out?
Pandey for me.
Pandey for you.
Not for me.
Kishan, and for you, Will, it's punt. Oh no, not punt.
I've got Pant at 6.
Not punt. Who's left out for you then? Wait.
So I've got Yadav, Samson, Kishan, and Pant.
I think I've got no one left out.
You haven't left out anyone. I think. Oh, it's because I have a different player at number 6.
Yeah.
Who have you gone with number 6, Audrey?
I'm sticking with the 6 bowlers sort of vibe that A team has. So that's Krunal Pandya at number 6. I think he can bat that high. He sometimes bats ahead of Hardik for Mumbai. Hasn't been consistent recently, but he's probably still up there. Number 7 would be Jadeja because I didn't have Jadeja. But you'd be close. I'd even be close to saying Akshar Patel, but Jadeja's better still.
Yep. Fair enough.
Yeah, I've got Pant at 6, as I've said before. Ideally, he's good enough. I don't think he's good enough to make their first team at the moment. Krunal Pandya I considered. I think if it was before the IPL, I probably would have had him in the India A side. He's been so bad. I can no longer put him in, I think. I don't really back him to score fast enough. His bowling hasn't been good enough. So, yeah, I wouldn't have him in. And my 7 is Washington Sundar, who you had in the first team. So we're sort of just swapped there.
Yep.
Quality bowler. He's got to be in one of the 2.
Yeah, for 7 I've got Washington Sundar as well. Yeah, but
Who was your 6 again?
I wouldn't say. Sorry.
Who was your 6 again?
Kishan. I named 3 to 6.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
I just think you need 6 bowlers now in 2020.
Yeah, true.
There's like not many Indian batsmen that bowl a little bit on the side.
Yeah, I've gone with 5 bowlers, so they all have to bowl. Yeah. So I'll start with my bowlers. So 8 to 11. I've gone with, because I didn't have him in my main team, I've gone Bhuvi, obviously, class. I've got Navdeep Saini. With bowlers, it's really controversial, especially quicks, because all of them, there's no, apart from Bumrah and Shami, there's no real standout quicks apart from those 2. They all bowl quick, but they're all really expensive. But I think Saini's got the best potential. I don't know if it's me.
Yeah, I think yeah.
Bishnoi, I've gone with Bishnoi. And then the last one, I think I need to have another pace bowler in there. So it's a toss up between Siraj, Natarajan. So just based off the IPL, I'm leaning to a Natarajan because he's a death bowler and he could fit this team really well. So I'm gonna go with him. But I've considered other options.
So who you're for again? You got Booby,
Vivi,
Sai-
Sony, Bishnoi, and Natrajan.
You've got Bishnoi.
all four of mine are different, so that's interesting. I mean, I've also got Deepak Chahar as 8. I think Archie will too. New ball bowler. He's the obvious one. After that, I've gone for Chakravarti over Bishnoi. I think he's had a better IPL. I think he's currently been caught up to the squad, so he's obviously more likely to play at the moment. But I
Yeah,
think
I didn't really think about Chakravarti, to be honest.
Yeah. Next person I went with is Sandeep Sharma. I think he's had a great IPL. I thought about someone like Natarajan. I thought about, I mean, so the incumbent bowlers in the normal side of India T20 side have actually been Thakur and Saini. They played against in the almost all of the T20s against New Zealand. But I've gone for Sandeep Sharma. I think he's out of the paces, like the ones that aren't of the top 3 or 4. He's been the best of the rest. I think I'd have him in my A side, and then I've gone for Thakur, Shardul Thakur over Saini. I think I think he has a better batting option to start with. And I think he's just been a bit better than Saini in the IPL. He can get big wickets, and the partnership of Chahar and Thakur bowling like they have at Chennai would be quite useful, I think. So that's my 11.
Yes,
Roger?
I've gone for the 3 bench paces, the current tour. So that's Chahar, Saini, and Natarajan. And then my spinner. So I'll just say his stats in international 2020s. He's got 39 wickets at an average of 13, and that's Kuldeep Yadav.
Oh no!
Like in international T20s, he's done nothing wrong. That's the thing. IPL, he's bad.
What?
But-
I mean, I mean, Maxwell's going to play in the Australian T20 side, so by that logic, sure, why not?
And I'd say he's better in international T20s than he is in ODIs because he's been bad in the World Cup and stuff. But in international T20s, he's done nothing wrong. That's why his average is still that good after playing 20 games. And
I don't mind it. I don't mind the call. That's fair
still a
enough.
bit raw. Bishnoi is still a bit raw. And then after that, it's like Ashwin.
Chakravarti. Did you say Chakravarti?
So Chakravarti is a bit raw still. Bishnoi is a bit raw still. So yeah, Kuldeep Yadav. One other player that you could consider is Rahul Chahar.
Yeah.
From Mumbai.
They're all in the same sort of mix, though.
Wouldn't mind that,
Patel as well.
wouldn't mind that, but I think
Yeah, Axel Patel's a good shot. Yeah.
I mean, Kuldeep, like, he just couldn't get a start for Kolkata. Maybe it's because it's in Dubai. I don't know.
That's the weird thing. I just think he's a different guy in India. For India,
Yeah, that's fair.
Like, I wouldn't even be surprised if they in ODIs they might try playing him ahead of Chahal. Like they rotate them.
Yeah. Yep, that's reasonable, I think, but it'd be interesting to see how he goes next IPL.
Though he's not in the 2020 squad right now.
See you in the one
Just
day.
ODIs.
Yeah, he's in one day and test.
Yeah. So if we're going to sub one batsman in and one bowler in.
Not even just whoever you have that isn't there. Just say
into the main squad.
No, into the main
squad,
11.
you mean?
it's your first 11. Yeah.
So who would you sub in?
Rohit and instead of Bhuvi.
Yeah. So Rohit, for me, it's Rohit, Bhuvi, Pant, and that'd be Darwin, Pandey, and Chahar.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't mind Saini or Natarajan. Like I think that position doesn't matter a lot. Like maybe they'll rotate a lot.
Yeah. So if you bring in Pandey, then we have the exact same team. We're gonna have the exact same 11 because I'm gonna bring in Darwin Vashama. That's the obvious one, I think. Darwin and Agarwal, I thought for a while, but I think you got to get back Darwin for now.
Mm-hmm.
And then yeah, Chahar and Pakuma. I honestly I forgot about Bhuvi until you mentioned him. So Chahar was originally in my team. So yeah, we're gonna have the same starting 11, and I think that's what India should go with.
Do you guys have Samson in your 11s?
No.
So you pick Pandey over Samson?
Yep.
Pandey is very underrated. I think he's pretty solid. Amazing fielder.
Yeah, true.
I mean, Samson was like this IPL has made like 3 or 4 big scores and 10 have been nothing. That's not good enough for the Indian side.
Also,
I don't think Pandey's popped off either. That's the thing.
Pandey's got a much level head than Samson. He
Yeah.
can collapse.
Pandey scored 350s in 15 games.
But like he's already in the T20 side. Like I think Samson played one or two of the New Zealand games. I think Pandey played most of them. I think you just back the experience of Pandey. Is Samson in the squad?
Yes.
Yeah.
Samson's even got promoted to the one-day team as well.
Yeah. I think it'll be good for him, the experience. But I think I'd like to see Samson play one game. But I think in the best squad, Pandey should play.
Fair enough.
I still believe long-term Samson is not as good as Punt.
I feel
It's
when he
hard to
gets
say.
going, he's better. I would argue when Samson really gets going, he's better than Punt. But I want to say Samson's more inconsistent, but Punt is pretty inconsistent. Actually, I mean, the IPL has been very consistent. It's been consistently scoring under 30.
Oh, weird. Punt, Kishan, and Samson, they're all like the same. It just
I'd say Kishan is very different to Punt and Samson. He's a much more consistent batsman, but he can't go as fast.
except this year.
Yeah, like his strike rate hasn't been amazing. Hasn't been the best thing. He's made runs. Like he made what do you mean 99 of 60 something? I don't know. But I think it's quite a different style of batsman. I think in the long term, I like Kishan. I'd like to have Kishan in my IPL team more than I'd like to have Pant or Samson.
I don't know. I think that's just off this year. I think any other year you pick Punt, like Arden said.
Kishan was
So,
pretty
Ryan,
good last year
Ryan,
too.
would you shift your order with no Rohit?
With no Rohit. Yeah, so So Rahul would open, move everyone up one. Then that leaves a middle order spot for either Samson, Pandey, or if we're thinking ideally, or Punt. Ideally, you want Punt in the team. I think just because of the IPL record is crazy.
But for this summer, who are you picking, Samson or Pandey?
The games that are in December.
Just because of Pandey, just because of his experience in Australia.
Yeah. So we pretty much all have the same
But
team.
if without that, if we ignore experience, I would pick Samson because I think he's a better player overall.
Yeah. So,
Better batter. I wouldn't say better. He's not fielding wise. Pandey shits on him, but.
So yeah, for this series, I think we're pretty much all agreed on what the Indian team should be. We're certainly agreed on 9 of the positions. The two things in question are Pandey versus Samson and Jadeja versus Sundar. So it's going to be interesting to see how the selectors go, I think. But I think we're all fairly similar on what we think the team should be.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I guess we'll have a proper preview later.
Yeah,
We'll
we'll just
Australia and the score.
All right. So seems like we're going to wrap things up. So make sure you like, subscribe, comment down below, and we always read through the comments. Don't you worry.
Yeah,
and
it takes us a while.
Next time, whenever that may be. All right. See you.